really good to see. And the first matchup here will be on Tal'Darim Altar. And here we go. I bring you the one and only Mouse Sports Mana. He is in the green trunks, and he is, of course, playing Protoss to the southeast of the Tal'Darim Altar, versus his opponent, the one and only OGS SK Nada. He is in the red trunks, and he is playing Terran to the southwest.
And Mana, obviously being a member of Mouse Sports here, and he plays the same style within the team as they kind of share, really, like ASUS. They're very defensive, they're very passive, they get double forge very, very often, and do go very upgrade heavy, looking for 3 bases and a big 200 army. And that's a good style against the way Nada's going to play, very aggressive. And if you can defend well, we've seen large success from Mana before in PvT, and his PvT is really good, by the way, if you didn't know that already. And as long as he can defend against these multiple areas, which is where the Korean Terrans really do excel, that's the difference between a Korean Terran such as Nada and just a European North American Terran, is that he'll be able to multitask, drop in 3 locations without dropping a single mineral, without being slow in any areas.
Yep, he is timing everything to perfection. That said, I have noticed a very, very small flaw that Nada every now and again does have a tendency to get supply blocked, which is a little bit odd, honestly, and it may end up hurting him here because Mana, of course, doesn't tend to do that. So we'll see how things go. Nonetheless, aside from that, his builds are pretty much perfect. His execution is, needless to say, always almost flawless. So we'll see how Nada does here. This is going to be a very close matchup, I think, one way or the other. I don't expect any walkovers here.
Yeah, and despite Nada being Korean, and he automatically gets the sign saying you play 12 hours a day, that's not quite how that works here.
Not accurate, no.
He's in university, and I wouldn't be surprised if Mana actually plays twice as much as Nada does
Possibly.
right now. So we'll have to see how that will go down. We are seeing the refinery go down for Nada. Not seeing the gasless expand, which is kind of common here, and especially common for a Korean Terran to do so. Is going to play a little bit safer, get that refinery up. Most likely be seeing some form of 2 racks into an expansion. It's very defensive if need be, and can also turn on the heat with some pressure.
Yep, the other possibility, of course, being a Reaper fast expand, but I don't think that's really going to happen here. It's not that common against Protoss. It's been done, certainly. It depends. I mean, if you end up skipping and you end up just getting your Stalker out, then sometimes your Reaper can be okay. But the problem is Stalker shuts it down immediately. This is actually going to be a Marauder and Concussive Shell opening right here.
Yeah, pretty safe. I mean, the reason why you need the Marauder, and if you want to expand, is the Stalker's pretty good against Marines. So as soon as you get a Marauder out with Concussive Shells, you are pretty safe to expand. And Nada's SCV is in the main base of Mana now, sees everything, sees the building placement, very defensive building placement against Reapers, against drops, already thinking out this strategical location for these buildings. Meanwhile, we do have a Marauder and a Marine poking out, are going to do a little bit of damage. He will be wanting to expand behind this 1 rack into an expansion. Probe being very smart from Mana though, going south and then into the main base, and will be able to catch the expansion very, very shortly.
Yep, he'll get nailed down by the Marauder, unless, of course, Nada lets him slip, and Mana actually gets away from that, which is quite unusual. And now Nada's actually going to follow up with a Reaper. Now, this is not usual at all.
Well, what he's going to try to do now is he's going to poke around the front, and a Reaper isn't really expected, to be honest, after this. I mean, it depends on how well that Mana can read Nada, but Nada's going to poke around the front, try to bait units out, and as soon as the units go to the front, he's going to go around the back and look for, 2, 3 probe kills and so on.
Yeah, and he should be able to do that. The fact that this expansion is coming up right now should give him some interesting options, considering the cliff right there. There's a freebie probe, and I have to wonder if Nada will actually try and place down a bunker right now. He's not, doesn't look like he's doing that, though. And Mana now pulling a ton of probes. He's going to be a little bit careful, because, of course, those probes can be picked off really fast, as can the Sentry by a Reaper, but the Reaper's coming in around the flank, and this is a nice little move here by Nada, who has forced his opponent out of position. The question is, will he use this to actually scout, because there are 2 more gateways coming up.
And I'm interested, he's just attacking the pylon, which is a little bit weird, because the
doesn't
pylon
like
won't
it.
Die. That was a little bit of a mistake, actually. I don't even understand why that was happening.
I'm a little confused by that, honestly. It didn't seem to do anything in particular, so I'm not really sure. That was an opportunity for him to go into the base and scout these extra gateways, which would have been quite helpful. He would have also noticed the 2 gas. So, whatever the case, he's certainly throwing us off, so perhaps he's throwing Mana off as well.
Now we have 4 barracks in total. Usually you see a 3 as a follow-up from here, but Nada changing. He's playing Nada's style, not anybody else's style. Gets that 4th barracks down. So we have 2 tech labs, 2 reactors. balance between all those add-ons. And now looking into the base off, Mana is gone for the 3-gate. You go 1-gate Expo from here, adding on those 2nd and 3rd gateway, and then the robotics facility, because right now, this is the problem when you play Protoss, is if, I mean, you click on Mana and you press V for the vision, you actually see nothing. This could be anything behind that. You know, double early refinery, it could be mech, it could be bio, you have no idea whatsoever. And so he's going to have to get that robotics facility up, get that observer out, and he'll probably go for 2 straight away. You kind of need to against Terran. You need to go into the base to see the production, and you also need to have one in the middle of the map somewhere so you can actually see if Nada decides to push out.
And it is this really, really curious opening right here by Nada, and Mana does not want to let that go. He is getting the heck out of there as quickly as possible. Can he find a cliff to get up? Yes, he's going to be able to escape from this one, I would think, unless he gets shot off. Bye-bye. Now, I have to wonder if Nada put on that very odd pressure with the Reaper just initially just to try and freak his opponent out. As you said before, the lack of visibility is perhaps generating just a little bit of paranoia, and Nada's been playing for so very, very long. I think he understands the game on a psychological level better than perhaps anybody else at this tournament in a very, very significant way.
And one observer is out now. We'll be going across to that natural. We'll scout out the units, and he will be like, oh, there's 4 barracks here, but the problem is that he's going to scout too late, and all of a sudden there's a lot of bio units here, and there are hardly any units for Mana right now. He's going up to robotics base, adding another gateway, the 4th gateway and the 5th gateway coming down, but this is a lot, and all the SCVs as well. Nada!
Yep, Nada with a very all-in-ish strategy right here, but it is perfect because it's coming in before the Colossus. A lot of minerals have been invested. 2 more gateways immediately added on, but Mana is stuck on 3 gate. He's up against 4 barracks plus SCVs with a stim. This is going to be hard to deal with, and he's going for it right now. All of the SCVs have actually been blocked out of position by excellent force field placement right now, so they're not contributing to this fight at all. If Mana holds this, this may very well be GG at this point, and Mana now throwing down right here. He's not having any of that nonsense. Look at the force field placement. Very, very good. Nada's attack starting to peter out right here. Mana backing off ever so slightly to deal with those SCVs. A few of the Marines managed to make their way through. There are more units streaming across the map, however, and those Marauders are taking a terrible toll right now on Mana, who is forced to pull his own probes from the line.
And he's holding on, though. That's the point here. Oh my god, I can't believe he's holding on. A Reaper is in the back now, killing probes as well. So multiple front damage from Nada here. Kills a pylon. Warp in was cancelled. Pressure's remaining at the same time. Nada is building SCVs in the background. He has mules. He's at 28 SCVs, 44 probes for Mana right now. He's holding on.
He is, but he does have some really heavily stimmed units right here, quite badly damaged. He's got to watch out for it. Takes out the Zealot. Now he needs good focus fire right here. Brings down 1. Looks for a second. Reinforcements streaming in from both sides right now. And now the Marauder count has gone down to 0. He's got to do something about that. An extra Marauder coming in will be able to nail down that Zealot. And Nada with a little bit of a counter push right now. The thing is, Mana is holding this and his economy is significantly better right now.
The problem for Nada is there's a big Colossus about to pop out. And so he has to go on retreat now. He has to fall back. And he lost a lot of SCVs in that trade there. 34 SCVs, 2 mules. So he does have mules, but 50 probes right now for Mana. Completely saturated on these 2 bases. He can go ahead, take a 3rd base, do whatever he wants, and he'll look to get those forges out very, very shortly soon and start upgrading as well. And he's at a great lead against the Korean Pro.
Yeah, the units lost were slightly higher in terms of resource in favor of Mana, in favor of Nada, in fact. The problem is that Mana kept his probes mining pretty much the entire time, and Nada obviously pulled a ton of SCVs, so in reality, Mana comes out ahead on that one. Nada pushing up once again. Will he get flanked by the Colossus? If he does, that's going to be messy. He goes right for it, however, which is probably the best thing he could have done in that situation, and now backing off, he takes a Colossus. Some damage has been done, and a little bit of micro there to try and take out as many Zealots as possible. That said, Nada's forced to get whittled down quite a lot there, and he's going to have to watch out because he's losing units as the Stalkers continue to stalk.
To stalk, they do, and he could turn around actually if he pulled all the units from behind and actually engage. He sacrifices a Marauder, but I think he's trying to bait Mana up here. He's waiting, he's getting into position. A stim will go off very, very shortly here.
Oh, and that was actually slightly mistimed right there. He could have gone in, and Mana sees what's going and immediately retreats. This game is fairly equal thus far in terms of resources lost, although Nada has now fallen behind in that regard, and he's been behind in the economy for most of the game since, of course, he threw in all his SCVs. So Mana, I would say, slightly ahead right now, especially with Colossus on the way. Medivacs are on the way as opposed to Vikings here from Nada, and another barracks on 2 bases.
Getting +1 attack though. It's going to give him a bit of an advantage in these fights, and 2 Colossus are coming out, and as you said, 2 Medivacs. He needs to squeeze 2 Medivacs. He has to go immediately to Vikings after this. The problem is for mana though. Nada is in good position up on this cliff, so it's going to be a little bit hard to engage, but 2 Colossus with Thermal Lance is pretty good.
Yeah, and we've seen Nada fall to Colossus before. They are a very dangerous unit, and of course there is a big potential for harassment right here. You'll have a look at it right now. In come the Colossus cliff walking, and Nada's army is actually over the other side of the map trying to take out the rocks on the 3rd right now. So he's taking some fairly significant damage right here. Needs to watch out for that one. Mana now sweeping around in a wide arc, looking to do damage. Of course, he can see up the cliffs as well. There's a big stim right now, but he's not able to kill a Colossus. Mana's Colossus control is really good. So that is not something that Nada wants to do. He cannot underestimate his opponent.
And Mana's not really looking to kill him here. He's just pressuring, forcing stims, getting rid of energy, maybe a few SCVs to come off. Vikings have been made, and at the same time he's expanding to this 3rd base as well. And now more reinforcements do come in. That 3rd Colossus now, and only 2 Vikings are out, and the Bioforce is so small. That SCV loss at the start of the game really hurt Nada.
Yeah, there's no real doubt about that. He's catching up, but it's taking him a while to do so, and his army's not quite as big as he wants it to be, really. Only a couple of Vikings on the field as well, and Nada not quite quick enough with the control, but he gets it away very quickly right there, but immediately annihilated. Now Nada's forced backwards. He does not want to be in that narrow corridor. That is the worst place he could be against those Colossus, taking huge amounts of area of effect damage. And now Mana trying to deny the natural, which will be an absolutely brutal thing. A big flanking attack comes in. He's not able to bring the Colossus down, however, and Nada is getting annihilated right here. Mana smashing through the remainder of Nada's force. Nada has nothing right now. GG!